Well, greetings, folks, and welcome to the first virtual Croatian Heritage Festival. This is produced by the San Francisco Croatian American Cultural Center. And my name is Chip Curry, and I am here with Adriana Andres. Adriana, can you give us a little introduction in Croatian?
Sure, Chip. Dobrodošli na naš festival iz Hrvatskog kulturnog centra San Francisco.
Thank you very much. Now, Adriana, why don't you tell us a little, I am not Croatian, although I've been to Croatia, I've been to Zagreb, but Adriana, tell us a little bit about your ancestry.
Yeah, so my parents were born and raised in Croatia. My mom is from Zagreb area, and my dad grew up in Crikvenica, which is not too far from Rijeka. And so he grew up more on the coast. But they both met actually here in the States, and they met through folk dancing.
Well, maybe this festival will be a visit in song, because a lot of these songs are wonderful old Croatian songs, and you might be encouraged to get up and sing a little bit along with some of these films. We are going to present 11 films this afternoon, or this evening. Whenever you're watching this festival, you might be in a different time zone. But we have one long documentary film called Croatian Stories, which is 45 minutes. And then we have 10 other films, which were probably 3 to 8 minute films, filmed at many of the events that have been held at the Croatian Center in San Francisco. And these events, we have to, at this point, mention our mentor, John Daly, who has been the producer of probably 200 to 300 events in over the last 20 years at the Croatian Center. And these events, some have focused on Croatian music, but some have focused on other kinds of music, Bulgarian music, Hungarian music. Like, Adriana, tell us a little bit about some of the events that you've attended there.
Yeah, big thank you to John Daly, because without him, a lot of these events wouldn't be possible. And some of the many events I worked on with John and I've attended include Children's Celebration of Ethnic Dance, which brings a lot of different cultural groups together, children's groups, to perform and share their culture at the Croatian Center in San Francisco. We also have Beyond the Borders events, where we bring other friends of ours from other cultures together at the center to celebrate their music with ours. We also have the well-known Tam Fest. We have the Croatian Heritage Festival. We also have had events for Bosnian Sevdah music. And we even had a Klapa from Croatia visit us one year. It was a while back, and we hope maybe once this pandemic is all over, we could have a guest from Croatia again. That would be great.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can relive some of those events now at this festival. It's exciting to show these films. One thing we want to also mention is that Croatia just experienced a 6.4 magnitude earthquake, and we want to give a shout out to you folks out there and tell you we're with you and send our prayers and thoughts and hopes for your quick recovery. Another thing we should mention is that a lot of these events have been funded by the organization called Grants for the Arts, which is part of the city and county of San Francisco, and it's been in existence since the 1960s and has offered close to $400 million to grants organizations and nonprofit arts organizations that would not be able to survive if it wasn't for funding. And the Croatian Center has used these funds to put on wonderful events that have celebrated ethnic diversity in so many different ways. And these films will attest to the greatness of some of those events. So, well, let's get on with the show. As they say, the first film we're going to show is a film called the first ever San Francisco Tam Fest, a video snapshot.
quite simply, it started when we were little kids, and the adults would come over to visit my parents in the basement, drinking wine and playing different instruments, including these instruments as well as an accordion. And us being, 8, 9 years old, maybe even younger, having to go to bed, but we could listen down to hear what's going on in the basement, and which was like the rumpus room. And that's when we really, felt that, hey, this is something we want to do.
This most recent slate of practices that we have that are usually completely off the cuff and unscheduled is for the TAMFest, the first annual SF Bay Area or Northern California TAMFest. And there have been all kinds of Tamburica festivals over the last 20 years in Northern California. We were approached for this one because it was an attempt to unify all the different music groups that are playing in California from both the north and the south.
As most of you probably know, tamburica is a type of an instrument, many forms of which you will see today, and it also means a particular type of repertoire that all of you know. Our first number, our first performers are Dalmatio singers from Slavonian Cultural Center, led by Mr. George Ružić. Slavonian Traveling Band is a very unique ensemble in this area. First off, its members are not Croats or Bosnians per se. There are only 2 members that are originally coming from Croatia or Bosnia. Other members of the ensemble are coming from different traditions: Polish, Jewish, Chinese, Portuguese.
Well, someone referred to Tamburica music as being relentlessly happy. And I think that kind of sums up what this music is. It's all upbeat, it's all fast, it's all happy music.
actually listening and watching the TV, and one particular event actually was New Year's Eve, when we would sit around the TV set and wait for the music that was featuring Tamburica music, among other things. And in particular, one performer, Zvonko Bogdan. And as soon as he would utter the first words, the first notes, when they would start, it would just somehow make our hearts tremble, shake with excitement.
Ančice, plačice, kad tebe pogledam, volio bi te poljubiti nego drugih 8. Sam svet zna šta je tambura i šta voli cura garava. Sam svet zna šta je tambura i šta voli cura garava. Ova naša livada vredi 7.000, ova naša livada vrijedi 7.000. Hajde, ide, lanaci polivate, hajde.
I always think about time where I was born, like a young man over there in Salashi, in Bačka, everywhere from Šokadija, and I think about horses, about my grandfather, my father, and everybody who make my life so how I live now.
I'm Tom Yaseta. I'm from Los Angeles, and I'm here with the St. Anthony's Tamburica and Kolo Club, Croatia. Our orchestra and dance ensemble were formed in 1960 by a fellow named Josip Bachman, who was an immigrant from Slavonia in Croatia. And he brought his knowledge of tamburica and taught local kids in LA how to play. And today we have a whole new generation of people that are performing, none of whom is an original member of the orchestra or the dance ensemble, but we still crank at it.
What's for dinner?
Well, we have about 5 different items. We got the chicken, we got the rice, we got the kobasa. That's a Slavic dish, kobasa. Like a hot dog. Much better than a hot dog. I was a butcher. I'm a retired butcher, then I cooked here for about 12 years.
What's the secret?
Secret that's in the rice. First you fry the onions, some bell peppers, then you fry mushrooms with it. Then you put the rice in and you add a chicken broth to it. And you keep another chicken broth until the rice is ready. When the rice is ready, that's it. A little butter in there, comes out delicious. You can taste them if you like. I'll give you some after a while.
Okay.
Chili bella, dimmirzella, try la 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 la. Chili bella, dimmirzella, try la 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 la. Chili bella, dimmirzella, try la 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 la. Chili bella, dimmirzella, try la 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 la.
is actually speaking to me about the past time, usually time before war, when I lived in a happier kind of setting, happier surrounding with my family. And many of the songs that are presented on this festival were actually sung to me by my grandma. So they're these old-time favorites which reinforce the old values of my culture, of my tradition.
Wonderful. An incredible treat having Zeljko Jergan here.
Okay.
We had a great time.
How about next year?
Next year, I'm hoping it's going to all be the same again.
How was the show? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was very nice.
Okay, will you come again next year, maybe?
Yes.
Where are you from?
Germany.
Show because I've been going to my sister's recitals since she was 5 years old playing and I was 3 years old. And to be here at our age and for me to still be a supportive fan is really, really wonderful.
Well, folks, what do you think? I hope you like that little film. It's 20 years old, and it's a video snapshot of the first Tamburica festival that was held at the Croatian Center in 2000. So the next film, we're going to show 2 more films, and these are short films between 3 and 5 minutes. And one of them features a dance instructor. Adriana, tell us a little bit about this dance instructor who's featured. And he lives on the East Coast now.
Yeah, so you're going to see, I guess in the video, Zeljko Jergan, who is a choreographer and dance instructor and a former member of the Croatian National Folklore Ensemble, Lado. He lives in Pennsylvania, but he does travel, I believe, around the United States and Canada and even abroad to other countries to choreograph or give dance workshops. And he's even worked with some groups you might see in our videos today, Koraci Folk Ensemble from San Jose and Skalinada from Sacramento.
Excellent, excellent. And also, I might add that John Morovich will be in these films. And John Morovich comes from Seattle, and he is just an incredible folklorist. He plays just about any instrument you can imagine with Croatian music. He plays music from all over the Balkans and Eastern Europe, and he's a magnificent entertainer. I've seen him just hold court with in the Croatian Center, and he has a beautiful voice and a big heart. And so John Morovich from Seattle will be in many of these in these 2 films. So I guess we should also mention that song and dance is a big part of the Croatian Center, and it's not only Croatian music that they feature, and Tamburica refers to almost any instrument of the tambura family. And so they feature music and dance from many different cultures, and it's kind of hosted by the Croatian Center. What are some of the festivals that you remember at the Croatian Center, Adriana?
Well, the Tamburica Festival, of course, and we would either have a Croatian group come and perform to Tamburica music, sometimes a Hungarian group. Because Croatia and Hungary share borders, there is a shared Tamburica music there and dances that can be performed. And I know John Daly has put on various events throughout the years, Culture at the Crossroads, where we kind of go beyond the borders and showcase music from different cultures and even showcase how they might connect with our own Croatian culture. So we're open and inviting of all cultures to our center, and we like to celebrate all forms of cultural music and dance.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun there too. I always like to talk about the Croatian Center. It's a place that you can go and fall in love because there's so many people there. They're just great people to get to know, and a great community. It's a social experience, and I've always been happy to be part of it. All right, so we're going to show these two films, and these films were filmed in 2010 and 2011 at the Croatian Heritage Festivals, and we'll be right back after these films.
Oh, hi, my name is Maya, and I'm here for a kola practice with my mom and dad are Croatian. All my ancestors are from Croatia.
I think kola is a lot of fun. To me, it kind of feels like we're back in the days. Like my mom used to wear the costumes a lot.
I was 7 years old and I went to the theater with my father to watch Croatian state ensemble Lado. And I just remember when the curtain opened, when I saw the costumes and I heard them singing, I turned to my father and said, I want to do this one day. And he said, oh, sure. And actually I was very lucky and I started dancing right after that. And when I was 18 and a half, I joined Croatian State Ensemble. We put this little seed in their heart of the music and dancing and costumes and traditions. We're going to survive. Because I think every culture should survive. And the beauty is in diversity. And this is the beauty of this country.
And I was born in Zagreb, Croatia. A program like this and the festival brings back the memories when I was very young. My father was a singer, my whole family, we sang and had a wonderful time. A small group of people here in America, and by having the festivals and the food and the music and singing, we keep our traditions as long as we possibly can.
Barbecue baby back ribs, chicken, kielbasa sausage.
Associate or belong to a community that's part of your culture, do it, because it's so enriching and it helps you to realize who you really are.
We had a great time. It was a lot of fun. Great music, great food, and a lot of fun.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed those two films. It was fun making those films and being part of the Croatian Center. As I said, I'm not Croatian, but I feel like I'm kind of an honorary Croatian. I've shot so many of these films. The next film we're going to feature is a 45-minute film called Croatian Stories, and it features 13 vignettes from various people who are of Croatian ancestry, and telling a little bit about their background and their family and parents who have come to this country, and their experiences. 13 different stories from various people and their experience with the Croatian culture. And this film was funded by the California Council for the Humanities with their California Stories program, and it was made in 2008. So, Adriana, you were in this film, and you were one of the stories, and tell us a little bit about what you were up to in this film.
Yeah, so that film, I remember you recording it. It was taken during a time where I was traveling a lot in the summers to visit my aunt in Crikvenica in Croatia, and I have cousins there and extended family, and I also have friends and family all throughout Croatia that I like to visit. So I would always look forward to the summers when I'd get to travel. I'd get to go to the beach, which is the most fun during the summer. Sometimes I'd also go visit the capital of Croatia, Zagreb, and during the summer they have a big folklore festival where it's international, and they not only showcase Croatian folklore, but they invite groups from all around the world to perform. So that was a lot of fun to experience. And in a sense, it kind of reminds me of our Croatian Cultural Center here in San Francisco, and how we also like to open up our doors to international groups to come when we do the children's celebration of ethnic dance, or just any culture to come and be a part and have fun with ours.
Good. Okay, well, that makes me want to go to Croatia, but let's wait till the pandemic is over. So,
yes.
okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. This is a 45-minute film called Croatian Stories, and we'll be back after the film, and we hope you enjoy it.
When I was a young man, I used to collect stamps. And then I got into American coin collection and model building. Well, when I went to the university in San Francisco, my major was business, but I always liked history, so I took a minor in history. And this old San Franciscan, the professor at that time, said, "Adam, I knew of your people here. I mixed with them in the early days in San Francisco, and I've never read anything about you. Would you mind doing your term paper on the Croatians?" And this is what started me off. It got to me so fascinating that I had to give up stamp collecting and coin collecting, and I did nothing for the last 30 years but collect Croatians. I've done about 9 books. 7 of them deal with Croatian immigration to America, and then early exploration during the time of expansion to the New World in the 1500s and 1600s. The major purpose of developing a center was to establish our identity as Croatians. The center started frankly in 1857, and by 1861 we bought our own Catholic cemetery. It belonged to us by deed, and it still does. Then in 1873 we were up in the gold mining country in the Amador, and we built our first home and center up there, surprisingly. And I guess the miners like to have a few glasses of wine and it burned down 3 times. This is the truth. Then after that time, in San Francisco, well, we had a branch in Watsonville, in Hollister, in Sacramento, and in the Amador in the early days. And little by little, these disappeared because people weren't coming into those areas any longer in great numbers. And then we would meet and rent halls to meet in. Then we decided about 25 years ago to start building a place.
Well, here we are at the Croatian American Cultural Center in San Francisco, and we have a great evening of Croatian and Bosnian music by Kitka and Balkan Cabaret. The concept of having a home, having a dome, having a place to gather, to socialize with your friends, to sing with your friends, is just an essential part of the Croatian culture.
My name is John Morovich. I am a Croatian American musician. The music that I perform is primarily of the Croatian people, and that is within the country of present-day Croatia, and also the Croats that live outside of Croatia in the country of Bosnia and Herzegovina and into the other regions where Croatians immigrated. That includes Croatian American music, and the music that was brought here made popular in the 1920s and 30s by Tamburitza musicians. My great-grandparents came here with very little, and this is to honor them, to honor my family, to honor this culture, our traditions, to be able to pass it on, and to perform it for an audience that is really willing to hear it. They're open to hearing it because they've heard maybe other Balkan music, Macedonian and Bosnian and whatnot, and this brings it full circle because it gives a true picture of what that culture is made up just for a short time. And to me, it's a real kick to do that. It's so much fun. It's a lot of work. Sometimes it can be frustrating, but in the end, when you hear that roar of the audience, there's really nothing like it.
My name is Sam Masunek, president of the Slavonic Mutual Benevolent Society, and we're in our home, the Croatian American Cultural Center. I've been president, this is my 26th year, and I'm a 56-year member. As I became a member, I started lobbying that for our people, the Croatians, to have a hall in San Francisco because I was really impressed with how successful some of them were in San Francisco and how smart they were. And it's a shame that we don't have a building when the Italians had their own building, the Irish had their cultural center, the Swedish had their cultural center. All these other denominations, nationalities were recognized in San Francisco except for Croatians. Well, the old timers always told me, he says, well, maybe this is not the right time to buy real estate. Anyway, one night when we had a meeting over here on Mission Street at the Sons of Italy Hall, I walked out and I came here at the corner and saw a sign on 60 Onondaga here, a for sale sign. And it was a piece of property, I think it was about 130 by 140. I came over here, went to the realtor on Mission Street, and I says, here's $1,000 down payment. I wrote a personal check. I didn't have the money in the account at those days. My most memorable day, we were an all-male association for 118 years, and 33 years ago, we opened up the membership to ladies. But the main objection was that they felt that the meetings would have to be handled different because of the women present. These Croatians at these meetings used to stand up, yell, like the stubborn Croatian as we're all known for, and they thought that would have to change and it just wouldn't be the same old society. But anyway, that did not happen. Once the women came in, the membership increased, and today we enjoy nearly 300 members because they brought in a lot of talent and assisted us, especially in the catering activities, and then also organizing various social events like Father's Days, Mother's Days, and so forth. In this room we have various exhibits and pictures that were highlights of the society throughout the years, and we also have pictures of various Tamburica groups and other dancers that performed in the hall here, and it's part of the history of the society. And we also have pictures showing our annual banquets in the past years that are part of the history of our society. We have a picture, all-male organization of 1917. The banner, which is displayed at our various events, shows a mother with 3 sons, and it symbolizes protection, which is part of our society's objectives in order to protect its members.
Okay, Vancolo.
My name is Lilla Serlegi, and I'm from Hungary, West Hungary. But my mother is Croatian. Music is my life, and Tamburica is my style. You know?
Well, it all started back in 1957 when a few of us got together in Detroit and decided we'd like to learn how to play tambura. Some of us had some instrument training. I studied the violin when I was in grade school for a number of years. Then I went to what they call mid-school out here, and I couldn't take the ribboning anymore, so I had to quit playing the violin. But I used to play my big brother's farkash brach. That's the instrument with a long neck. We didn't speak English until I had to go to school. And then I flunked kindergarten because I didn't know my colors in English. So I had to learn how to talk English real fast. I still don't know the colors.
This is my husband Al next to me here, and we're at our home here in Mountain View, and we meet here every Tuesday of our lives. Our name is Novi Stari Tamburashi. The reason we called ourselves Novi Stari because we have new people and we have old people. My sisters and I were very young, and we used to listen to all the orchestras that played in the Pittsburgh areas where I grew up, and we decided we wanted to learn to play too. So we talked our father, and we lived on a farm, talked our father into buying us instruments, and the man who made the instrument, his brother taught tambura how to play. So he would come out every Friday to our home, our farm, and he would give us lessons, our whole family lessons. My dad played, my sisters played, and my mother paid them in milk and eggs. She would, because in those days it was, you know, good to have organic food even then, so.
I took a course in Balkan folk dancing when I was 19 years old, and the first dance I learned was Croatian, and I fell in love with the Tamburica, and after that it was all over. And then in 1975, I went over to Zagreb and I picked up this little tamburica and brought it home, and I was kind of holding it and listening to music, and I looked down and I was playing along to the music. I don't know how it happened. To this day, I couldn't tell you how it happened.
Hi, I'm Helen Faratz O'Brien, and I'm here in the Potrero Hill. I was born and raised here, and I'm going to share with you my childhood and my adolescence. There are some sad parts, but there are a lot of good stuff I can share with you. Now, across the street here, we have St. Teresa's Church. This is where I spent a lot of Sundays, my confirmation, my communion. And I have a picture here, which I'm going to share with you. 31 families left their little town in Blata and settled here in America for a better life. And it's a group picture in front of St. Teresa's Church, taken 1932. The picture is a celebration of the patron saint of Blata, Sveta Vicenza. And it was a big celebration. And after this picture was taken, there would be a procession all around the Potrero. My parents came here, and my mother was pregnant with my brother, and they didn't have money for rent, so another family took them in, Mr. and Mrs. Basic, and they were from, of course, Blato. And they lived with them for a while until when my dad did find employment, but it was hard work. But he did manage to save up some money to pay for rent. So my father found a place down on 18th Street. So we moved there, and I was born there. And we all went to St. Teresa School. And my father didn't have money for tuition, but you know how he paid for our tuition? He would give me, all wrapped up, butter and eggs for the nuns. That was his tuition. I will never forget that. The men that lived here, the men from Blato, they worked for the Southern Pacific Company. And when there was a job opening, they'd say, Nick, my father's name Nick, there's an opening, you'll get the job, go down. And sure enough, he got the job. Schmada was his name, and he would visit with us. He lived elsewhere in the city, and he was from Blato, but he came here to visit his friends. And I could remember this, he had a wooden leg. And I thought, oh, I asked my mother, why does he limp, Mama? And she said, oh, he nima drvo. Drvo means wood in Croatian, so I knew it was a wooden leg. And I found out the story behind that. When Schmada was working, he had a train accident, and they had to amputate his leg. And he was going to sue the Southern Pacific Company. Well, when his buddies found out that he was going to sue, how dare you sue SB? They gave us our jobs. What are you talking about? Well, he didn't want to lose his buddies. He did not sue. And also I remember vividly, Dalmatians by nature are gregarious. And they would argue about politics. I mean, argue. So, of course, my mother would have to intervene and say, that's enough, let's sing songs instead. Let's sing.
I am Thomas Gudel, and I am one of the Perim players in the band Sidro, and we're from San Jose. We've been together for the most part off and on for 20 years. The old folklore dance group was Matija Gubec in the Bay Area. They started in the early 70s, and they had a Tamburica band that kind of played with them at festivals. And my father was in that, my cousin was in that, and about 4 other people, and they would rehearse at our house. And that was really when we first, my brothers and I first heard the live Tamburica music. Musically, what I've read from musicologists, they've actually, you mentioned bluegrass, it's actually been compared to it from a musical standpoint. It comes from rural areas. It involves musicianship and ornamentation and dexterity and like a dedication from a tambura standpoint. At the same time, it is very folksy. It is simple themes and what have you. I don't really play to preserve it. I mean, that's not a popular answer. I don't play to preserve the music. If we don't play it, other people will. Maybe they won't play exactly the same way. This music is even the older music is going to keep going on, because I go to these cultural festivals, and it's going to go on because people like it. They're time tested, they're tried and true, and as long as there's people, as long as there's tamburicas being manufactured, and Croatians and friends of Croatians, and wine being made, these songs will continue to be, this music will continue to be made. I mean, it's bigger than us, man. It's bigger than us.
My name is Zeljko Jergan. I was born in Split, Croatia, and I came here when I was 8. Been back several times, not enough though. In the band I play the brać, or whatever instrument is currently missing, so if somebody can't make a gig, I usually play that instrument. This is a song called Konoba, and Konoba literally means wine cellar, but in Croatian, more than that, it's a place where people get together, they eat, drink, socialize, sing songs, play cards. It's Konoba moja, which means, my Konoba, radost i sva. You're the, joy of my life. You're everything to me. Dušu sam svoju su tebi dam. I gave, my whole soul to you. To me, it's very important because when I was a little kid and I lived in Croatia, my great uncle had a konoba, and we spent all our summers after swimming. We'd go in there and we'd just eat lunch and just sing and play and talk and just do everything there. That was like our hangout. You could almost smell the wine barrels, lyrically.
My name is Adriana, and tomorrow, which is Sunday, I am leaving for a trip to Croatia. And I will first be arriving down here in the south in Dubrovnik, and then take a boat ride to the island of Šipan here. And then I will take a bus ride all the way up to Crikvenica. When I compare the US to Croatia, every time I come back, it's like culture shock again, because all you see is kind of roads and cars, and you feel like everybody's always in this big rat race to get somewhere and do something. One comparison I've heard is that, especially when people go to cafes back in Croatia, they take their time drinking their coffee and they sit and people just relax and talk for hours. But over here, it's like you go to Starbucks and it's coffee on the go, and you're always rushing, trying to get somewhere and finish something. And I will see my cousin Irena, who lives in Crikvenica, and she will probably meet me at the bus station, see me walk off, and I'll run over to her screaming and jumping, and we'll hug each other. And I know the first thing she'll say is, "Hi, cousin," in English because I taught her that, because that's what she calls me. And I'll say, da je dugo bilo, da sam jako umorna, da bi odmah išla kupati u more. I don't know. I would say ja volim hrvatski folklor. So I, love is volim or like, and hrvatski folklor is Croatian folklore.
My name is Jan Rains, and I'm here at Dalmatio choir practice this evening. We practice every Monday in San Francisco at the Croatian American Cultural Center. I grew up in Monterey and Oakland. The Monterey part was pretty much of a Croatian community, and every time the family would get together in Monterey and have a meal or something, all the men would sing after dinner. They sang all the songs from Croatia, particularly Dalmatia, because they were from the island of Mljet.
Some of us grew up together, we knew each other, and we started out speaking Croatian, couldn't speak English, and born and raised here in San Francisco. So we just picked it all up, English, up when we went to kindergarten. And we have a strong bond amongst us, and just history. It goes back, and our parents knew each other when they were in Croatia, and they were best friends, and we used to go to picnics, and we still do, actually. And it's in our blood.
My father was a singer. He was a first tenor in Croatia, and they had about 100-man choir that traveled through Europe and in those days Yugoslavia. And there has never been a time when our friends, when they came over, that we did not end up singing. We sang all night long. We used to go to a restaurant and get together, and then we would start singing, and the people, the customers, they would help us. They would join in.
Yes, my name is Slava Dijanic. I am from back home, from Croatia, from the island of Olib. And speaking about singing, I have an uncle. He passed away, you know. And when he was a young man, he was gifted. He got a nice voice, and he remembered a lot of songs just in the head, you know. There was no music, you know, paper, whatever. So I call him that he was my radio, because we don't have even radio, you know. We have influence by German, you know, style like a polka in the Zagreb opera. Then we have Italian, then we have a Muslim like from Bosnia, and then we have even some influence from the Greece. There was quite a few songs that was singing in the Greek style.
Well, welcome to Tadich Grill. My name is Mike Buich. I'm the owner of Tadich Grill. The restaurant is coming up on 160 years of continuous operation, making it the third oldest restaurant in continuous operation in the United States. And it has been in Croatian heritage the entire time. The first restaurant was a tent, actually, a tent structure on the water. And that tent was made from the sails from the ships. One of the things that our customers tell us all the time is don't change. And a certain food item was just as good today as it was 20 years ago. And a lot of those dishes came as old country dishes. They were kind of the what mom or grandma would make on the stove in the old country.
Hi, I'm Al Saracevic. I'm a first-generation Croatian American. I live here in San Francisco, or actually in the outskirts, in the suburbs. I'm a newspaper man. I work as the business editor of the San Francisco Chronicle. I'll never forget when I first moved to San Francisco. I came walking through these doors around 3 in the afternoon one day. I'd been looking for work all day and decided to get a drink. And I came in and I remember talking to my dad about the place, and he said, you know, there's a great old Croatian place on California Street. You gotta go see these guys. So I walked in and I decided to test how Croatian the place really was. So I walked up to the bar, sat down right over there, and I ordered in Croatian. I asked for a glass of beer, and the guy looked at me, and sure enough, he understood what I was saying and answered in kind in Croatian. And he asked me, so what kind of beer do you want? We got it all going. He said, so what are you doing? And I said, well, you know, I've been walking around town today looking for work and, you know, not having too much luck, so I thought I'd quit early and get a pop. And he kind of, his mood changed at that point. He changed a little bit and he said, okay. And he walks away, and I thought I'd upset him in some way, and I wasn't sure what. Maybe I had misspoken Croatian or something. I was worried. And 10 minutes later, he comes back and he says to me, he goes, well, listen, we're not hiring right now, but I talked to the manager in the back and we can start you off washing dishes. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever, and it was a very kind and wonderful gesture, and it really spoke to me about what kind of community we have as Croatians. I was both flattered and I felt awful in trying to tell him that that wasn't exactly the kind of work I was looking for. I'm a journalist and I was looking to write for the newspapers here. And but you know, within 10-15 minutes of being in Tadich Grill, early in my time here in San Francisco, I was offered a job by my good Croatian friends here. So we joke that there's a certain negativity or a certain resignation in the Eastern European personality. And we always say, oh, my mother would always say, happy, what's happy? There is no happy. Who promised you happy? You know, that kind of thing. And that's kind of the joking side of it. But in reality, I think what I really take from the Eastern European mentality is never giving up. When I think about what my family went through in what was then Yugoslavia during World War II, and being overrun by Nazis, and the subsequent fight with the partisans, and not having food, and both my father and grandfather were imprisoned after the war for political reasons, and they survived it all. They got through it all, and I really believe that on a day-to-day basis, what reminds me of my roots is just that kind of stick-to-itiveness, the resilience that I see in Croatians and Eastern Europeans in general. They don't give up.
Today what we're doing is preparing strudels that we're going to serve at our upcoming Croatian festival. We now have some wonderful shortcuts. You can buy phyllo dough, but in the days of our parents, they had to make it from scratch. The thing about our Croatian cuisine is that we all, so many of us may or may not know how to prepare the dishes, but we have fond memories of growing up with them. You show a menu to any Croatian, and if he sees lamb on it, 9 out of 10 are going to choose that. Or if you're from the Dalmatian coast, they may be choosing the calamari dishes.
It's a part of living. I mean, we don't eat the food because we are hungry, we want to eat something. We eat the food because we totally enjoy. A lot of our cooking, we don't make it in half hour when we cook the meals. Our meals always take longer time to prepare. The food is important because food a lot of times will bring the people together. You want to treat your friends, you want to treat your family. When we get together, either with just the families or the friends, we always put all the food on the table. You take what you want, you take as much as you want. And if you don't care for something, you just do not, somebody doesn't put it on your plate. My father and my mother, of course my family, my brother and his family, they used to say, we know we are approaching your house because the whole neighborhood smells wonderful, with a wonderful aroma that comes from a kitchen.
Family dinners is what brought us all together, and that was when you started the conversations about what went on in your day. And in the old country, we heard our parents talking about coming home for the family for the evening meal, because often they were out working in the fields during the day, and food was brought to them by the women in baskets that they carried actually in our region on their heads. But in the evening meal, everybody got together and talked about what had happened during the day, how the plowing went, how many cows they milked.
My name is Bill Kumbelich, and I'm one of the principals and founders of the CAC Group, which is a commercial real estate firm that's based here in San Francisco. Well, when I think of Croatian culture, I really think of fun and happiness and family and friends, because that was a very big part of how I grew up. With my grandmother in the house, I mean, she was constantly cooking. I mean, it was known that if you got to her house within about 3 minutes from the time you entered the door, the food was going to be on the table. In terms of the work ethic, from the area where our people were from, I mean, it was not easy, and so for people to survive, it was, it was pretty much survival of the fittest in a sense, and so people had a tremendous work ethic. I mean, you were defined pretty much by hard work. In fact, there is an old saying on our island, which in English translated means sleep fast, eat fast, work fast. So in other words, it was a commitment to, just get going and don't sit around and wait, because, you got things to do.
Croatian families, especially in those days when I was a kid, were traditional families, really good Catholics. We were not only going to the church, but each family prayed every day, every single night. Family prayed the rosary. And you are growing with your Catholic beliefs, and then you are going to the church, you are going to religious classes for First Communion, for other sacraments, and somehow I feel that I want to be involved in this, that I want to be part of this. We are a Croatian Catholic mission, but actually we are on level of a parish. It was really great that one lady, Croatian lady from Dubrovnik, got this place as a dancing hall and restaurant. She donated this property to Croatian Franciscans, and the church was dedicated in 1975. From that day on, our parish, or better to say, mission starts here, and we are still here in this building on this property. There is many different things that I like, but actually all of them are going around the church, around my job that I'm doing, and I want to be with the people.
I was born in Croatia, a place called Međimurje, Donji Kraljevec. Well, I was born Catholic, grew up Catholic, and married to Catholic. I have 3 children, and this is just like Without that, I wouldn't be me, what I am.
When I first came here, it meant the world to me. I came at 14. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know English. I didn't know anybody. I wanted to go back home so bad. But, you know, when I came here to this church, I met people who are in the same position that I was. So that's, and also when we go back to Croatia during the summer, I want my girls to be able to speak Croatian, to get to know the culture even better in their own language.
Assimilation takes a great part, and people is assimilating to the culture where they live. But I think that church helps that assimilation to go slowly, because if you know who you are and what is your past, then you can grow normally and accept other cultures.
Well, we've been going to this church our whole lives, and we have lots of fun here. Everybody here is really close, and everybody's like family, so we have lots of fun here.
Yeah, my parents have been going here before I was born. They were married at this church, and we have a bunch of friends and cousins and family here.
We speak fluently, and it really means a lot to us, because I don't think I would rather be from anywhere else except for Croatia. I mean, I love it, so.
You know, we have a dance group who is really great in our community, and they are practicing once or twice a week here in our small parish hall.
Well, my name's Stephanie, and I've been dancing kola since I was 5 years old because my parents thought it would be a good idea for me, and I didn't like it at first because little kids don't really like to dance, girls and boys, that whole thing doesn't really work. But as time went on, I really started to like it, and we had a great teacher since we started. I've been dancing since I was 5, and now I'm about to turn 18, and we've had the same teacher, Leo Andres, since the beginning, and he recently retired, and we love this dance so much that our group kept going without our teacher. We became our own group, and we kept it going because it's part of our culture and it's something that we really enjoy, and I'm so glad that I'm part of this.
Yeah, I was one of the original founders of Koraci. We started the folk group when our kids were young. They were in the 3rd, 4th grade, and I always had this vision of creating a group in the Bay Area that the community would be very, very proud of.
Koraci means steps, steps that we take through life, steps that we take to get from one level to the next. And that is what our dance group is all about, our choreographies and life. The kids love to come together to perform. Yeah, so they start when they're 5 years old in kindergarten, and 5 through about 8 or 9 years old, and they move up to the middle group until they're about 13 years old, and then they go up to the senior group, we call it. And the senior group gets to travel a lot more than the younger 2 groups. Our motto is all are welcome, and we love to invite our friends and family, neighbors to come and join us and to see our dancing. The music's inviting, it gets you to want to dance. Sounds like polka a little bit sometimes. It's usually telling a story of collecting the hay, or when it's harvest time, collecting grapes, gathering the grapes, times for weddings. Dancing is the thread that brings us all together. It's kind of like the chain link, and it's a strong link, it's a strong bond. Our community, we're a strong community of Croatian friends and family, and it's what keeps us all together.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed that show, Croatian Stories. It was produced in 2008, and I was the filmmaker, and it took me about a year to make that film. And I had great fun kind of investigating all the people in that film and hearing a little bit about their story. And I guess probably I shot about 100 hours of footage in order to get one final hour of film, and I have a lot of stories still in my mind, but that's for another day. So we're going to complete this Croatian festival with 7 films. These are 7 short films of 3 to 5 minutes each, and several of them are going to feature some real stars from various points in the country. One star is Jerry Gerchevich. And he's one of the fastest and the most articulate prime players in Croatian music today. And I've been quite impressed with him, and it was a real pleasure for us to have him at the center. Who else, Adriana?
I believe we're also going to see Ken Kosovec, who plays with Momci. And Ken is also a well-known Tamburica player. He, I believe, is in the Tamburica Hall of Fame. And Momci's composed of him and his family members. So you might notice maybe Peter Kosovec in there, or Sonia, who sings, and other family members who are either playing or singing, or playing and singing at the same time. So they're a really talented family that get together, and it's really nice to see them all play and share their love of Croatian folk music and Tamburica music.
And it's been great that the San Francisco Croatian Center has been able to get the funding to bring these people from the East Coast. And it has been important to congeal the whole Croatian community in the Bay Area. And we should also mention that many people come to dance and sing and play music here that are not even of Croatian ancestry. They're from Berkeley and East Bay and from San Jose, and they come up to dance to almost any event the Croatian Center hosts. So anyway, I've seen you out there dancing, Adriana. You're a pretty good dancer.
Thank you, Chip. We have to get you out on the dance floor one day.
That's going to be a rare day. Okay. Well, maybe not until today. I think after this whole COVID thing is over, I'm going to be ready to do some dancing and some singing too.
It's going to be a COVID-free colo.
Yes, indeed. Okay, folks, here are 7 films we're going to complete this festival with, and we'll be back after these 7 films, and we hope you enjoy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 13th annual San Francisco Tamburitza Festival. This festival is a great opportunity for us to showcase bands from all over the country, and for the bands and the public here to have a chance to meet each other. Tamburica is what we call this family of instruments. Tambura is what they are in the original language. It's a family of instruments ranging from a small one like a prime all the way up to a tambura bass. One of the featured orchestras today is the Jerry Gerchevich Orchestra. Jerry's from Pittsburgh. Jerry's a Tamburica Hall of Fame award winner. He's also recipient of the NEH National Heritage Foundation Fellowship. Our other headline group today is Momci. Originally from Detroit, they're spread out a little bit now, but that's a family band. 2 brothers, their sons and daughter, and family. There's a lot of energy coming together from this band, and even though they live in different cities now, it's really great to have them all together for this festival. So this is the 3rd day of our festival. We've had shorter evening programs, but we're here all day Sunday. We have great food available all day. The bar's open. We have panel discussion where we talk to some of our visiting musicians. There's going to be a concert in the afternoon with all of the performers. There'll be a sing-along of a Croatian piece that everybody knows and loves. And then there'll be singing and dancing and carrying on in the bar till the wee hours of the morning.
Hey, isn't this great? I come all the way from Huntington Beach to San Francisco to hear music from Croatia. What a small world, and I love it up here. The people in San Francisco and at the Croatian Center are the best.
Welcome. We're standing in front of the Croatian American Cultural Center, the site of the annual San Francisco Tamburica Festival. The festival celebrates the music of Eastern Europe, the Tamburica, the music of the Balkans. It is a festival of fun, dancing, music, food, family, friends, featuring bands from the Bay Area as far away as Chicago. Let's go inside and take a look at what we have. This is T. Roma from Chicago, Illinois. The band has been together for quite a long time, and they are experts in all sorts of music from Eastern Europe. And what is your name, sir?
Steve Kieran.
Steve Kieran, of course, I know him well. He's from Chicago. He's with the band T. Roma. Tell me why you like coming to this festival particularly.
It's absolutely great to come to the West Coast. We have great people out here, great friends, but this is such a unique situation that is not out there in the States anymore, where you have a Croatian club like this that people support, and you got the food, music, it's just great. We just love it.
This is an example of Klapa singing, and it's being taught by John Morovich. This is Ćubrica, a Balkan and Eastern European influenced band that comes from Humboldt County, 6 hours north of San Francisco, California.
I grew up
My first dancing, traditional dancing, was Japanese dancing in the Japanese community where I grew up in Salt Lake City. But once I heard this music, I completely got into it, and I have studied, and there's no limitation that is dependent upon your bloodline. It makes no sense to me.
This is the St. Anthony's Tamburitza Orchestra. They are affiliated with the St. Anthony's Croatian American Catholic Church in Los Angeles, California. This is Mladost Bosne, which translates to Bosnian Youth, a folklore group from San Jose, California. The Slavonian Traveling Band is the house band of the Croatian American Cultural Center, and today they're pleased to be playing music from Bosnia and are featuring two guest singers, Muhammad Kocan and Hayrudin Hayric. Thank you very much for joining us. The party's going in full swing right now. The dancing's about to start. I'm requested right now in the bar where my band is about to play. The jam session's going to kick in after that. All the musicians are going to get together, and we're going to take it deep into the night. Thanks again.
Roma is a band of guys from different parts of the city who all now reside in Chicago. We play a multitude of music featuring tamburica, accordion, and violin. Started out watching my dad and my uncle perform and gaining a passion through it then, growing up in Croatian folklore groups and meeting other families, kids, performing at festivals. All through the years, it brings it into one big pot of passion, you might say.
How did you get started playing?
My father played in a Croatian band, and my godfather played violin in it. And my father wanted him to teach me violin, but he told him, put me in classical, and that I would always play folk stuff, and so I've just always played since I was little.
Was there a lot of pushing, or did you say, yeah, I'll do this then?
I was 3, I don't really remember.
My name is Jared Gercevich. What I do in Pittsburgh and all over the world is play music, play tambura music. The first time I remember having a tambura in my hand would be when I took my dad's brach and slid it down the steps of the house. So I probably started playing when I was 5 or 6, a little bit, some simple melodies. And I was exposed to the tambura music from my father and my uncle and my grandfathers. I watch the dancers and I really try to feel the tempo that they're needing. And there's rhythm in all of our instruments, just as there's rhythm in their feet. The song is about the rustling of the maple tree and the girl that's waiting there for the guy that didn't return right away. The words were written by Miro Škoro, and together we did the music.
je zemlja sva, kako ljubav vodi cva.
Introduce us to the first song you ever learned. Show us a little bit.
Oh,
What's
the first song?
melody you ever played?
It was Prva Svijeća polka, which is the first flower polka, and it goes something like this. And there's a little more to it.
Moja juliška, jesi sa lučim snovima, meni srce uvijek zaigra, kada čardaš zasvita. Tvoje male slatke čičmice zemlju nisu dirale, nije bilo ljepše curice od tebe golubice. Kad se sjetim ja moje ljubiška, kako si mene ljubila, kako smo samo ludo plesali, dok su čarda svirali. A la 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 la
My first experience playing, well, I played like 6 or 7 years old. I'll play the melody line. My name is Ken Kosovic, and I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I was born in America, and I come from a Croatian family. My roots are all Croatian. My father played in an orchestra, just like as you see here today with my group. So I was exposed to it at an early age. Likewise, both of my children were too. Playing with my family is a very emotional experience. First of all, my family, we don't all live in Detroit anymore. So because we're spread out now, we really play together as a group rarely. Click, and you just feel you can read each other's minds when you play. There's like this, you got this connection going mentally, whatever. really means, the literal translation just means like guys or like young lads. Well, when we formed this group, we were all a little bit younger. And what's a little bit unusual, my daughter's with us, who is a girl, but that's okay.
Hey everyone, just like to welcome you to the San Francisco Tamburica Festival. We're here today, my name is Peter Kosebek. We're here with my band Tamanaški Sasta Ponoć. There's a lot of great music where everyone's going to have a great time, and we're happy to be here again for the second time this year. Tamburica music, something special about it is it brings people together, I think, from also multiple nationalities around either the same region of the world. You know, we'll be playing songs today from Macedonia, from Serbia, from Croatia, maybe some with some Romanian, Hungarian influence. So that's a nice way, again, to bring together people with the same sort of love of that style of music.
It's important for us to do these festivals. We're keeping a tradition alive that would maybe not be otherwise preserved here in San Francisco.
Sretna nije bila, gledao sam Drinu dok me je ljubila. Zar je naše noći već zaboravila? Gledao sam Drinu dok me je ljubila.
Which one of you can dance?
Both of them.
Both dance. Which one can sing?
Both of them.
Which one of you are having a fun time today?
That's the soul. It's one of the meaning of the life. Every day or in a hard day, a sad song can light you up.
This was a great event. I'm coming next year, the year after, and the year after that. I had so much fun.
pješnja danima daleka, tamo gdje me već davno nije. Što to ima u ljudima tužno, da ulaze u tuđe živote, ko to živi u prošlosti mojoj, a još nije umro samotan.
Ej, kato moje zlato, sjedi do mene, ej, na Bešanskom srce ne vene. Ej, kato moje zlato, sjedi do mene, ej, na Bešanskom srce ne vene.
When we grew up, after a nice Croatian meal, my sister's laughing at me, but she remembers after a nice Croatian meal, my uncle, my grandfather, my grandmother would sing in harmony in Croatian, in Italian, and this really brings a lot of good memories.
From zucchini or pumpkin.
Šetala se jelica i ive maoja, rožica moja. Šetala se jelica i ive fiolice moja. Sve od bakra do trzata grada, maoja, rožica moja. Sve od bakra do trzata grada, fiolice moja. Vriki su joj robu kupovali, maoj, rožica moja. Vriki su joj robu kupovali, fiolice moja. Nena ni nena, nena ni nena, nena ni nena, nena ni nena. Žute noge, musa kolaj, a okolin, neni nena. Žute noge, musa kolaj, a okolin, neni nena. Žute noge, musa kolaj, a okolin, neni nena. Žute noge, musa kolaj, a okolin.
Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed those films. They were fun to make. I was the filmmaker on just about all the films we're looking at today, and I hope I make many more. And it's been a lot of fun. And we're about ready to sign off. Have you enjoyed the show, Adriana?
Oh, yes, of course. And a big thank you to you, Chip. Without you, we wouldn't have all these beautiful memories from all of our previous festivals. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you, Adriana. And thank you to you. I know you've been behind the scenes and you've been MC at many events. I've seen you at the Children's Celebration of Ethnic Dance in many different costumes. You're quite an actress.
Thank you.
Now, we want to thank John Daly, who has been our great leader in many different ways for many of these events, probably 100 events over the last 20 years. And also, we want to thank Grants for the Arts, which has funded these events. And we have received some funding over the years from the National Endowment for the Arts. And we want to underline that the money that these people distribute for these events is really well used. It really helps the whole community in San Francisco. The cultural experience is just invaluable. And so I hope we have many more events to go to. So, well, Adriana, thanks for being here with me. And why don't you give us a farewell in Croatian from this event?
Sure. Thank you to everyone who joined us. Puno hvala svima koji ste se pridružili na našem festivalu. And we're so happy that you joined us virtually, and we hope you enjoyed seeing all the memories from our previous festivals.
Okay. Okay, I guess we're going to sign off, and thank you for watching, folks, and we'll see you next time, hopefully in person. Bye-bye.
Hopefully. Bye.